Anyways, I was explaining earlier, the way that the grave system works is But, alright. And now we get our first look at the tech tree, basically. Usually most left things are automatically unlocked, and it takes points to unlock them further. Obviously requiring anything where the lines are coming from beforehand. There's many different trees. The only one that's different is the cooking, where every single recipe is unlocked in its own way, and therefore doesn't have any prerequisite. Of course, it also doesn't cost any points, so it's still pretty good. The first one being anatomy and alchemy. This is how we unlock most of the body stuff, as well as unlocking perks, which you can just stack up as many of these as you can acquire. They all do their own small thing, but obviously they require points. Points, as stated earlier, are required in 3 different kinds. Red for any physical labor, green for any labor that requires plants. You can usually get these both at the same time. And blue for anything to do with magic, spiritual, the weird stuff. You get it mostly from studying other items. And also, as I was trying to explain earlier, the way that the grave system works, as you can see, they're all in the negatives right now because their graves have fallen into disrepair. But if I look at this one, see how he has 2 reds and 3 whites. That means, since these are giving none of these leaves, it's currently sitting at -2. However, once I repair this one, since it has 2 leaves, it raises this up, and since it's matched up with here, it's now at 0. However, if I had no reds and only 3 whites, I would be sitting at +2 instead of 0. Which is why making as many white skulls and as little red skulls is the aim, usually the best path. Now, I'm only going to use these repair kits on the stuff that gives 2 leaflets to try and balance me out, because my goal is to get above +5, which is going to be difficult when everything's in the negative. Alright, I'm out of repair kits, and I can also dig up these small dead bushes to increase it a little bit further. Alright, that's as high as we can make it now at -11. And thankfully we don't have to worry about this half of the plot, because technically we don't legally own it. But that'll be explained further later. And also, as I'm sure you've noticed, the calendar cycle-ish up here. The current one's at the bottom, which is, I just call it Sunday because it's the day of sun. And the way that it works is that for every single day, an NPC is assigned to them and they will only appear on said day. Few small exceptions here and there for story beats, but usually that's how it works. And since it's Sunday, that's when the bishop shows up. So obviously now it's getting late, he's starting to walk away, and once he starts moving, I can no longer interact with him in any meaningful way. And as this playthrough goes on, you'll find out who's assigned to which one further along. This blue bar up here is my energy. It is incredibly limited. Usually the best method is to just make a ton of food so you can keep yourself fed while doing other tasks. Because there is farming in this game, it's not just the graveyard. And as we're heading to the small town here, there's a bunch of small things. No one's really gonna be out because it's night, but because we're heading to the tavern keeps always going to be there.
Tolo, 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 tolo. Tolo, tolo, tolo. Colo, colo, tolo. Tolo, tolo. Colo, 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 colo. Colo, colo, colo. Bulo, 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 bulo. Tolo, bulo, bulo. Tolo, bulo, bulo. Colo, 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 colo. Tolo, bulo. Tolo, bulo. Colo, colo, colo. Colo, colo, colo. Tolo, colo, 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 colo. Bulo, 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 bulo. Colo, colo. Bulo, holo. Holo, 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 holo. Holo, 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 holo. Holo, holo. Holo. Holo, 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 holo. Holo, 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 holo. Holo. Holo, holo, holo. Holo, 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 holo. Holo, 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 holo. Holo, 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 holo. Holo, holo, holo. Holo, 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 holo. Holo, 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 holo. Holo, holo, holo.
So, in case you guys weren't paying attention, some things in there definitely didn't add up. For example, even though we've just gotten here out of nowhere, he treats us as a friend and neighbor, which doesn't make any sense. The name of the kingdom is the kingdom, the name of the village is the village. These aren't just names, he outwardly asked what they were called, and that was his answer. It's also strange that even though this mysterious man shows up, says he woke up in a graveyard, we're already given the name of Graveyard Keeper. With the bishop, he said it was a tradition to go there every single Sunday. But with this, a little less obvious that clearly something here doesn't make sense. The places make... The places has terrible names, and... Fuck no. The places all have generic names, which doesn't make any sense, and everyone tries to kind of pretend that we've been here the whole time, and that he doesn't know what we're talking about. And also, Miss Chain over here, the barkeeper's wife, So as you can see here, there's only a few recipes that we're in, we can only afford one. But I'm going to hold off because we actually have something to spend our money on. Wrong button. As you can see in here, in our known NPCs, Jerry over here is looking for beer. So we're going to use what little money we have to buy him one.
Piran. Tom. Tom Bell.
And this is Miss Charm, and today is her day.
Tom. Tom. Tom Bell. Tom. Croissant. Piran. Tom.
Ravaju. Uno mara. Uno ma. Mara. Ravaju. Mara. Ravaju. Rubar. Uno mara. Ravaju. Mara. Ravaju. Rubar. Mara. Uno mara. Uno mara. Ravaju. Rubar. Mara. Rubar. Ravaju. Rubar. Uno rubar. Ravaju. Mara. Uno rubar. Mara. Ravaju, Rubaru, Ravaju. Unuma. Ravaju, Rubaru, Ada. Unuma, Ravaju, Ada, Ravaju. Ada, Ravaju, Unuma, Rubaru, Ravaju.
So for now, let's just go take care of the... Let's go take care of the Cavern Keeps, who's also somehow the town mayor, whatever it was. Quest. Let's go take care of the quest.
Like so. Like so. Like so.
And also, these small little smiley faces obviously are favor with the NPC. It's mostly just used to progress the story, because you need a certain amount of favor for them to ask. To ask them for items, which another quest would need for their own, another NPC would need for their own quest line.
Like so. Like so. So, like like so. Like
Yes, so as stated earlier, food is going to be the best way to acquire energy. But sleeping is also fast and cheap, because it costs nothing. The only problem is that since it progresses time at a much faster rate, that you might end up having to wait another week for something if you really need to get it done that day. Since sometimes the NPCs are gone by the time you want them to. And as it says here, I needed 10 favor. It doesn't remove it, it just adds up till it's at the max. But because I do have it, I'm able to ask him where to find metal ore. And all weapons, as you can see, my shovel's already a little injured. All tools and weapons have durability, except the hammer, since it's just made for building stuff. And you can use a whetstone to repair it. The whetstone also has durability though, and will eventually run out. But its durability is quite decent. As you can see, it barely put a dent in it for repairing the sword. That isn't anything particularly engaging. Literally just hitting space and you swing sword. That's it. As far as I know, there's no range combat, nothing crazy like that. And obviously, since he's the blacksmith, I can buy, you know, more whetstones, metal, nails, simple iron parts, and then if I trade with him enough, the vendor will level up, and I get access to more of their stuff. The only issue with that is that you just need to trade with them a lot, and money's pretty hard to acquire in this game. Here is pretty much the best thing in the game, is gathering berries and apples. Anyway, we unlocked one of the best skills, and that's gathering berries. The reason it's one of the best is because these things replenish incredibly often. And just give 5 energy. Not a lot, but as you saw then, I got 3 just for a single bush. Mushrooms are also okay, but they take a hit to your health, but give the same amount of energy and you only get 1 at a time. Anyway, inside here's the house. This is where a lot of the less important, but still important stuff happens. Some basic storage in here, but also where we're doing any and all of the cooking. It's mostly basic stuff for right now. I'm not eating human flesh. But we can eventually make much more important things. As you can see, literally just 4 jelly, a single honey. And that's 90 energy just right there and then. Incredibly cheap, incredibly efficient. This is where we can cook up the bread and stuff that we get. But it requires us to fill it with fuel. The fuel doesn't have a limit. It'll go up as high as you want to put stuff into it. Same applies for the furnaces when we get to those. And we can also build a small amount as well. Ah, so this is what those portraits are for. Pretty sure this wasn't really in the game when I played last time, so I'm actually glad for this. Remove. Okay, so in this section here is where we're actually able to build, and it looks like the rug over here is also able to be changed. And it says these are flower shelves, so I assume maybe these can fit somewhere specifically. Not entirely sure. I can't wait to find that out. Anyway, down here is the cellar.
Stop. Stop.
So that was Snake. He shows up normally on green days, but since he's trying to get through this, and you'd probably miss him since you don't come down here super often just yet, you'd probably end up missing him. And down here is a massive network of tunnels. This also connects up to the autopsy room down there as well as inside the church itself. But we haven't unlocked that yet, so we can't get into it. And also there's these massive debris clearing the way, which requires us to get wood wedges, wood planks, and some simple iron parts. Which, if we go into our tech tree, acquire wood. The wood wedges are there. They're not incredibly difficult to acquire. And the wood planks, which also aren't too difficult to acquire. So this one's pretty easy to remove. But the further you go out, the more difficult. That one there, I believe, is a lot more difficult to clear out than these two. Since these two basically just lead to the town. Not the town. These two basically just lead to the village.